During our summer vacation at the amusement park, my sister Chloe secretly got into a van. I pretended not to see and turned away. In my past life, I stopped her. For that, she hated me for decades. On my daughter's first birthday, she put a strong poison in the baby formula. As she watched my daughter cough up blood, she laughed like a maniac. "Remember, you killed her," she screamed. "You ruined my life, so I'm gonna make you miserable for the rest of yours. Why did you stop me from getting in that van all those years ago?" I tried to fight her, but she stabbed me. I ended up in a coma, living in a vegetated state for years before I finally died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on that day, the day my sister secretly got into the van. I was staring right at the back of Chloe's head as she looked around nervously. I narrowed my eyes, feeling a storm of hatred rise inside me. Soon, a black van pulled up to the curb. She knocked on the side door 3 times. 2 men inside quickly pulled her in. In my past life, I thought she was being kidnapped. I screamed and drew a crowd, and together we dragged Chloe out of the van. I was so panicked back then that I didn't notice the strange look on my sister's face. Chloe hated me for decades. She didn't just poison my daughter. She secretly put small amounts of poison in my medicine for years, ruining my health. After she stabbed me and put me in a coma, she would visit my hospital room every day to whisper insults in my ear. She'd brag about how happy her family was and how cute her own daughter was. Every year, she brought her daughter to my bedside to celebrate her birthday. After 5 years of this, her words finally broke my will to live, and I took my last breath. It was only as I was dying that I finally understood why Chloe was so desperate to get into that van. It was her own master plan to escape her life. Growing up, she always believed she was special, a chosen one who shouldn't have been born into a normal family. For a while, she even thought she was switched at birth. As she got older, she started to look more and more like our dad, and she finally had to accept the truth. But that's when she came up with a new plan. If you were born into the wrong family, why not choose a new one? The men in the van were indeed human traffickers, but they were traffickers that Chloe had contacted herself. She offered to let them kidnap her on one condition. They had to sell her to a rich family. They agreed instantly, and today was the final step of her plan. In my last life, Chloe believed I had destroyed her one chance at a better life. She hated me to her core. Watching the van drive away, I felt a small smile on my face. I turned and disappeared into the crowd. "This time, Chloe, I'll let you chase the life you want. I'm curious to see where a couple of traffickers will take you." 10 minutes passed, and Chloe didn't come back. My parents started to worry. They checked the restrooms, but couldn't find her. Their faces went pale. 20 minutes later, after searching the whole park, there was still no sign of Chloe. My mom nearly fainted, and Dad smoked one cigarette after another. "It's all my fault," he said, his voice breaking. "Why didn't I watch her more closely? Summer, Daddy lost your sister." He covered his face and cried. My parents stayed in a hotel near the park for over 2 weeks, blaming themselves every day. Their health got worse and worse, and they both ended up in the local hospital. I started to panic. I couldn't let Chloe ruin our whole family. That night, I went to my parents' hospital room. I started crying so hard I couldn't speak. My mom pulled me into her arms, wiping my tears. "Oh, sweetie, do you miss your sister? It's our fault. Are you angry at us for losing her?" I shook my head and buried my face in her shoulder. "I've already lost my sister. I can't lose my mom and dad too. Summer is so scared of losing you. Please don't leave me." My parents froze.
It was like they suddenly remembered they didn't just have Chloe. They had me, their 8-year-old daughter who still needed their love and care. The next day, they were different. They started taking care of themselves again. 3 days later, we went home. They never blamed themselves in front of me. Out of guilt, they gave me double the love and attention. Dad worked harder than ever to make up for the time he felt he'd lost with me. He saw a business opportunity and opened a small factory. With good timing and hard work, the factory took off, growing from a small workshop to a huge company. Our family moved from a small apartment into a massive mansion. I became the most spoiled and loved daughter you could imagine. I was only 13 at the time. Lying in my huge, soft bed, I laughed out loud. I wonder what kind of life Chloe is living now. What would she think if she knew our family had become incredibly rich? The normal family she tried to escape became the wealthy family she dreamed of. None of this ever happened in my past life. In that life, after Chloe came home, my parents worked their normal jobs their whole lives. We were just an ordinary family. I touched the designer dress I was wearing. It seemed Chloe was the one holding us back. Without her, our whole family thrived. Because of my poor health and horrible death in my past life, I started to exercise like crazy. I learned kickboxing, martial arts, swimming, and everything I could about health, nutrition, and medicine. I found the best tutors for every subject, and I never let my schoolwork slide either. My parents saw how hard I was working and felt worried. "Summer," they'd say, "our family has so much money now. You don't have to study so hard. We can take care of you. We just want you to be happy and carefree." I'd smile, showing my 2 little canine teeth. "I am happy, Mom." After Dad closed a few big deals, he had more free time. While he spent time with me, he never gave up looking for Chloe. They spent a lot of money putting out missing person ads in newspapers and online, offering a huge reward. Anyone who could provide a tip about Chloe would get $5,000. Anyone who knew where she was would get $2 million after she was found. The story was all over our city. People lined up at our door every day. My dad was so rich, he didn't care if the tips were real or fake. If someone came with information, he gave them $5,000. After 2 years of this, he had given away a fortune, but still had no real leads. Mom got frustrated. "These people are just scammers. It's all fake news. We haven't found our daughter, but we've spent a ton of money." Just as my parents were about to try a different approach, a bald man came to our house. The moment I saw him, I knew. It was one of the men from the van. 10 years had passed, but he looked exactly the same. I immediately called a private investigator and told them to find Chloe in City B within a week. They were fast. In just 3 days, they sent me photos. When I saw them, I couldn't help but smile. There was Chloe eating pickled cabbage and thin rice porridge. On the table was a whole roasted chicken. But none of it was for her. It was all in the bowl of the little boy sitting across from her. The investigator told me Chloe had been sold to a couple with the last name Miller. They couldn't have children, so they bought Chloe. But 2 years after she arrived, Mrs. Miller got pregnant and had a boy. I wiped away a fake tear. My poor sister has suffered so much. The investigator added that Chloe had been forced to drop out of school years ago to work. He paused and then looked at me carefully. I nodded for him to continue. It also seems she has a boyfriend. What was so hard to say about that? But when I saw the next photo, I burst out laughing. Her so-called boyfriend was a man in his 60s. Now, this was interesting. The investigator told me they often met at the restaurant she worked at after it closed. The old man had a little money and wasn't afraid to spend it on Chloe. I gave the investigator double his fee and told him not to tell my parents. The bald man was already on his way to City B. It was only a matter of time before he found Chloe. That night, I put a few drops of saline in my eyes to make it look like I'd been crying.
My mom put down her chopsticks and pulled me into a hug. "Oh, my sweet girl, are you thinking about your sister again?" I bit my lip and carefully pushed the photos onto the dinner table. "Mom, Dad, I found her. My poor, poor sister." I didn't show them the picture of the old man hugging her. As expected, one look at the first photos and their eyes turned red. Mom started to cry. "It's our fault. We failed Chloe." They decided right then to drive to City B the next day to find her. As I got up to go to my room, I accidentally dropped the photo of Chloe and the old man. My parents pointed it out. I acted flustered, fumbling to pick it up, which only made them see it more clearly. "Mom, Dad, she must have her reasons. Please don't judge her." My dad's face changed first. He hated people who would do anything for money. Chloe's life was hard, but she was young and healthy. My mom pursed her lips, wanting to defend Chloe, but she couldn't find the words. In the photo, Chloe was smiling brightly, pressing her whole body against the old man. I quickly hid the photo and grabbed my parents' arms. "Mom, Dad, she must be going through a hard time. That's why she made a mistake. I'm sure she can change." My dad was silent, his lips trembling on the edge of anger. He slammed his chopsticks on the table. "We'll go get her tomorrow." I knew that the guilt of losing her was still a thorn in their hearts. Their pain was greater than their anger. I lay in bed that night, playing with the photo. I hoped tomorrow would be a good show. Early the next morning, my dad drove us to City B himself. Mom was so nervous, she could barely speak. She kept fixing her hair and clothes and looking up articles online about what to say to a long-lost child. Dad was quiet the whole way, only asking if I was hungry or needed a break. A break, of course. I was timing everything perfectly to make sure we arrived after the restaurant closed, but not so late that Chloe would have already gone home. After a long drive, we finally arrived at the restaurant where Chloe worked around 9 p.m. "It's closed," Dad said. "We're too late. Let's just go to the Miller's house." Mom grabbed his sleeve and pointed to a faint light in the back kitchen. Her voice was choked with emotion. "There's a light on. Is that Aunt Chloe still cleaning up? Oh, she must have suffered so much. That boss is a monster, making a little girl work this late all by herself." I joined my mom in wiping away fake tears. If you listened closely, you could hear voices inside. It sounded like she wasn't alone. We decided to check the back. Mom pushed open the back door first. The first thing we saw was a head of gray hair. The old man was pressing Chloe against a table, kissing her hungrily while his hands roamed under her shirt. Chloe was giggling. Honey, you're so impatient." "I can't help it. You have no idea how much I've missed you." "I have tomorrow off. Will you take me shopping? I saw a dress I really want. It's $500. "Of course, of course. But first, how about I give you something else nice tonight?" "Oh, you're so bad." The sound of the door opening startled them. Chloe looked up, annoyed. "Can't you see we're closed? Go somewhere else if you want to eat. So annoying." My dad was shaking with anger. He rushed forward and kicked the old man to the ground. "Chloe, look at yourself. A $500 dress makes you do this?" Dad couldn't bring himself to say anything harsher to the little girl he hadn't seen in 10 years. Chloe froze. In the dim yellow light, she studied our faces. Her eyes grew wider and wider, then filled with tears. "Daddy, did you come to save me? He forces me to do this every day. He threatens to fire me if I don't." I stood in the shadows, leaning on my chin. Chloe was smart.
In just a few sentences, she had turned my parents against the man and made them feel even more sorry for her. She looked past my mom and at me. "Are you my sister?" "Summer." She ran over and hugged me. "Your dress must be so expensive. I've never worn anything this nice. You look so beautiful, like you've been loved so much. Not like me. Nobody loves me. Mom, Dad, I've missed you so much." I stared at her with a half smile. Interesting. It looks like Chloe wanted to play a game of who's the favorite. Dad called for a car to pick us up, and we drove home that same night. When Chloe saw our house, her jaw nearly hit the floor. She walked around, touching everything. Mom took her to see her new room, right next to mine, filled with piles of gifts. "Chloe, tomorrow I'll take you shopping. We'll get you lots of new dresses." She wandered around her room, then came into mine. Her eyes turned red. "Mom, can I have this room? It's so big and beautiful. I've never seen a bedroom this pretty before." Of course it was. My room was the best and biggest in the whole mansion, with a private balcony bigger than a small garden. Mom looked hesitant. "But this is your sister's room." I smiled and took Chloe's hand. "It's okay, Mom. Let her stay with me. We haven't seen each other in 10 years. We have a lot to talk about." Chloe opened her mouth to object, but I didn't give her the chance, pulling her into my room. I led her to my walk-in closet and gestured inside. "See, Chloe? These are all my custom-made clothes. See if you like anything." She reached out to touch a dress, but I grabbed her hand. "Your hands are covered in calluses. They're too rough. You might damage the fabric. And your hair is so dry. Chloe, what kind of life have you been living?" I showed off my silky, well-kept hair, which was shiny all the way to the ends. Then I pulled her around my room, pointing out all my expensive things she had never seen or even heard of. I wanted her to know exactly what kind of pampered princess life I had lived for the past 10 years. "Summer," she hissed, "if you hadn't gotten me lost, would my life have been so miserable?" I leaned back on the sofa, sipping a glass of juice. "You know, Chloe, this juice is specially sourced." "Oh, right. You probably don't know what that means. To put it simply, this little glass costs $1,000. I covered my mouth and giggled. "That's twice as much as that dress you wanted." Her face went from pale to red. Before she could explode, I smiled sweetly. "But it's good that you're back. If you need money, just tell your big sister. Please don't go looking for old men anymore." I took a black Amex card out of my purse and held it out to her. "Here, take it. There are countless $500 dresses in here for you." That was the last straw. Chloe snatched the card, threw it on the floor, and stomped on it over and over. "Summer, you witch! Who wants your pity? Can't Mom and Dad afford to take care of me? You're doing this on purpose. I told you that man forced me. Are you deaf?" I took a sip of juice and nodded as if I'd just realized something. "Oh, so you were forced. You were smiling so happily. I thought you were enjoying it." "Summer, I'm going to kill you." She lunged at me, but I sidestepped easily, and she fell clumsily to the floor, screaming in helpless rage. The noise brought my parents running. "Summer, Chloe, what's going on?" I messed up my hair, pinched my arm hard, and my eyes instantly filled with tears. Acting? I could do that too. "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I didn't take good care of my sister. I'm not a good sister." Chloe just lay on the floor and wailed. "Mom, Dad, Summer doesn't want me here. She said horrible things to me and told me to go die." I shrank into my mom's arms and shook my head desperately. "Chloe, I didn't. Why would you say that?" My mom's eyes widened. She had raised me for over a decade and knew my personality. I would never say something like that. My dad noticed the black Amex card on the floor. He picked it up. Summer, why did you throw your card on the floor? Is it broken? I'll have someone get you a new one tomorrow. I looked down, my voice muffled. No, it's not broken. I was trying to give it to Chloe. I didn't have to finish. My parents understood everything. Chloe was still trying to argue I threw the card on the ground to frame her. Mom sighed, pulled Chloe up, and dusted her off. Chloe, we know you've had a hard 10 years and you're angry, but you can't take it out on your sister. She's very sensitive. It's late. Let's talk about this tomorrow, okay?
Mom led Chloe back to her own room. Chloe glared at me over her shoulder, thinking she was being subtle, but my dad saw it. After she left, Dad asked if I was okay. I bit my lip and forced a brave smile. I'm fine, Dad. Chloe is just not used to being back yet. She's angry. It'll get better. Lying in bed, I had to laugh. In my last life, she kept up her act for decades, making everyone think we were the best of friends. This version of Chloe had no patience at all. I guess that's what happens when you don't get an education. The next day, Chloe was full of fight again. She spent the day making snide remarks, hinting that the love I received was rightfully hers and that I should be grateful to her. She leaned against my doorway, her chin held high. In stories, the youngest daughter is always the most loved. Just you wait. Mom and Dad will get tired of you eventually. I grabbed my bag and left without a word. My schedule was packed with classes. She sneered behind me. I'm going to buy 10 times more clothes than you today, and they'll all be better and more expensive than yours. But I wasn't about to give her that chance. Halfway through my kickboxing class, I clutched my stomach and called my mom. Mom, my stomach hurts so bad, I'm going to skip the rest of my class. You and Chloe have fun shopping. I'm heading home. Less than 10 minutes later, Mom burst into the gym and rushed me to the hospital. Chloe looked like she could breathe fire. Her smile was stiff. Mom, Summer is so lucky. She gets a little stomach ache and everyone rushes to her side. When I used to get sick, I could pass out from the pain and no one would care. I'd still have to get up and go to work. Mom patted her head. Chloe, honey, I know you've suffered a lot, and I will make it up to you. But please don't talk about your sister that way. You are both my babies. If you had a stomachache, I would do the same for you. I winked at Chloe and mouthed the words, Mom loves me more. Chloe's face twisted in rage. She tugged on Mom's sleeve. Mom, since Summer is okay now, can we go to the mall? I still haven't bought any clothes. Mom gave her a look. Can we go tomorrow? The clothes aren't going anywhere, but I want to wear something new today. Mom sighed, handed her a credit card, and asked our butler to go with her. Chloe, buy whatever you want. That evening, Chloe paraded in front of me in a new outfit. Mom had the head designer at the mall make this for me. Do you have anything like it? I pointed blankly at my massive closet. That entire closet is full of them. If you like them, you can have them. Oh, sorry, I forgot. You're too chubby. They wouldn't fit. She gritted her teeth. I stood up and patted her shoulder. Oh, sister, you're so naive. Wouldn't it be easier to just behave now that you're back? Why are you trying so hard to compete with me? Don't you get it yet? In our parents' hearts, I will always be number one. Chloe didn't believe me. This is just temporary. I'm the youngest daughter. The youngest is always the most important. She started acting out in all sorts of ways, just to prove she was the most important. My parents, still feeling guilty, let her do whatever she wanted. Because they spoiled her, Chloe got wilder. She made friends with a bad crowd and started coming home late at night. I suggested to my parents that Chloe should go back to school to get her life back on track. Your sister has a good point. She should go to school with her. The moment my name was mentioned, she went crazy.
We're so rich. Why do I need to go to school? Mom, Dad, are you just like the Millers? You don't want to take care of me either? I know Summer is perfect, so you only love her and not me, right? My parents sighed and comforted her, eventually giving in. It was true. They could afford to support 100 Chloes. That night, she came to my room to gloat. Summer, you think I don't know what you're up to? You just want your friends to make fun of me. I've read enough books about bullying to know your tricks. You can't fool me. Watching her walk away so proudly, I shook my head. My goal, of course, was to make sure she didn't go to school. After all, what if she got smart? It was better for her to stay foolish. More than once, I saw my parents sighing in private, not knowing what to do with Chloe. Mom would wipe her tears and say, "Our fault we lost her. She wouldn't be like this otherwise. Let her be happy. I don't expect her to achieve anything, as long as she's happy for the rest of her life. But those friends of hers, we need to get rid of them." I smiled. Chloe was using our parents' guilt to do as she pleased. But how long could that guilt last? I already had the bald man's contact information. It just wasn't time to use it yet. 2 months later, my parents decided to throw a party to celebrate Chloe's return. Chloe was thrilled and planned the entire event to her own taste. Dad was happy to help, so busy that he didn't even go out with his friends anymore. A week later, I saw the party presentation and scoffed. It's okay, I guess. Not as grand as my 18th birthday party, though. That one sentence was all it took. Chloe went berserk. She screamed for all the decorations to be torn down and ran crying to our parents. She said that after suffering for so long, she deserved a massive party. She wanted everyone in the city to know that the younger daughter of our family was back. My parents said no, so she started guilt-tripping them. Mom, Dad, I was gone for 10 years. Do you have any idea how much I suffered? And now I can't even have one big welcome home party? Because of their guilt, they agreed. It was just a matter of spending more money. They had only hesitated because, frankly, they found Chloe's taste a little embarrassing. Chloe was triumphant. "See, sister, your party wasn't nothing special after all." I smiled. Chloe had taken the bait. The Millers were already looking for her. If she made such a huge scene, they would eventually find her. And if they didn't, I would make sure they got the message. Of course, her old man boyfriend would be there too. Chloe was looking forward to her big day. And so was I. The day of the party arrived. Her dress cost a 7-figure sum and was designed by a team of dozen stylists under her personal direction. It was, let's say, slightly better than her dress. She twirled in front of me endlessly. "My dear sister, I bet you never got this kind of treatment, did you?" No, I didn't. My sense of style wouldn't allow it. Chloe also hired the biggest media outlet in the city. On the night of the party, she made a dramatic entrance. It was, let's say, slightly better than her dress. My best friend stood beside me and whispered, "Is that really your sister? What is she wearing? And what's with this grand entrance? It's like a circus act." After all the formalities, it was finally time to mingle. Chloe came up to me, batting her eyelashes. "Sister, I was wrong before. I was just too jealous. Can we start over tonight? We're family after all. You'll always be my favorite sister." I rested my chin in my hand and stared at her blankly. She looked awkward. Then she grabbed my arm. "Come on, sister. I remember we used to be so close. We shared everything. Let me apologize properly, okay? I also have a secret to tell you." She pulled me toward a storage room, handing me a glass of juice on the way. "Sister, I know what specially sourced means now. This is a new kind. You should try it." One glance was all it took. I could smell the faint, unusual scent in the juice. She had drugged it. I smiled and pointed to a large screen on the wall, which was showing old photos of Chloe. "Do you remember when that was taken?" While she was lost in thought, I quickly poured some of the juice from my glass into hers. When she turned back, she saw my glass was half empty and gave me a genuine, wicked smile. "Sister, you're going to have a very fun night. Enjoy it." She pulled me into the dark storage room. I could just make out the shape of a person lying on a sofa inside. Chloe's eyes gleamed. "Sister, are you feeling a little warm? The atmosphere tonight really is hot, isn't it?" As she spoke, her words started to slur. She swayed and held her head. "Sister, I'm so happy. From now on, I'm so sleepy." "If you're sleepy, then go to sleep. There's a sofa right there." She yawned and stumbled towards it. I slipped out the door, carefully closing it behind me, but leaving a small crack. I knew she would try something, but I never expected it to be so vicious and crude. Now she can enjoy the consequences herself.
I had just stepped back into the main hall when my friend ran over. "Summer, there are people making a scene at the front gate. They say they're Chloe's adoptive parents." The Millers and their son were kneeling on the lawn, wailing that my parents had stolen the daughter they had raised for 10 years. Mrs. Miller was pounding her chest, looking like she was about to faint. Their son was banging his head on the softest part of the grass, crying, "Give me my sister back." My eyes then landed on the old man standing behind them, and I almost laughed out loud. He was wearing a suit with a groom's boutonniere and holding a bouquet of flowers. "I am Chloe's boyfriend," he announced. "I'm here to propose to her." The 60-year-old man bowed to my parents. "Mom, Dad, Chloe and I have been together for 2 years. We're in love." My parents' faces turned green. They waved their hands, trying to get security to escort the group out, but the old man was surprisingly quick. He darted into the house and started yelling, "Chloe, Chloe, I've come to marry you. Didn't you say you didn't care about my age, only about my stamina?" The guests were stunned. I took the opportunity to turn off the music. The hall fell silent, except for a faint panting sound coming from the storage room. I covered my mouth and pointed. "What's that noise?" The old man heard it too. His face darkened and he stormed in the direction I was pointing. He kicked open the door. Inside, Chloe was entangled with a homeless man on the sofa, her expensive designer dress still half on. I gritted my teeth. The man Chloe had hired was a homeless person. She was truly evil. I immediately let out a loud, piercing scream. "Ah, sister, what are you doing? How could you do this with a stranger in our own home? I'm going to have a heart attack." The scream woke Chloe up. She shrieked and covered her chest. "How did I get here? Why is it me? Get away from me, you bum! Security! Somebody help!" My parents rushed over, shaking with rage. Chloe looked around the room and her eyes locked onto me. "Summer, why are you standing there perfectly fine? That was supposed to be you!" I stared back at her, my voice cold. Where else would I be? Are you saying this homeless man was meant for me? The guests were all smart people. They immediately understood what Chloe meant. My father had security clear the room. Then he turned and slapped her so hard she fell to the floor. "You wretched girl! How could I have a daughter like you?" Chloe scrambled into my mom's arms, crying, "Mom, I didn't do it. I swear. I wasn't supposed to be in there." My mom, with tears in her eyes, pushed her away. "Get away from me. You tried to harm your own sister. Have you no shame?" Chloe was stunned. "Mom, you hit me? You know what I went through for 10 years? When I was sad, when I wanted to die, where were you? You think I'm an embarrassment, don't you? You think I don't know? If I hadn't gotten lost, I would be a princess just like Summer." My dad stood frozen, and my mom sobbed quietly. The Millers crawled over and grabbed my dad's pants. "We raised her for 10 years. You owe us for that." Chloe kicked them away. "Get lost. You know what you did to me for 10 years, and you dare ask for money?" The old man grabbed Chloe's arm. "Chloe, darling, you're not going to leave me, are you? I can forgive what just happened, but you have to marry me." The hall descended into chaos. In a quiet corner, a man in a hat walked up to my parents and whispered something.
Then he went to the sound system and played a recording from his phone. A man's voice filled the room. "Chloe, just give me $1 million and I won't tell anyone what happened back then." Chloe's voice sneered back. "$1 million? You think you're worth it? You have the nerve to bring that up? Believe me, I can have people make you disappear." The man's voice was cold. "Aren't you afraid your parents will find out you asked me to take you away?" "Get lost," Chloe screamed. "You promised to take me to a rich family, and look where you took me. Now you're threatening me? You have no shame." The room fell silent. My mom swayed, almost falling. "Chloe, what does this mean?" The man in the hat was the bald trafficker. Only now did Chloe panic. "Mom, it's fake. It's all fake. He's framing me." I held my mom steady and glared at Chloe. "Do you know how many times Mom and Dad have cried for you over the last 10 years? And you arranged your own kidnapping? You wanted to be a rich man's daughter, so you left. Now that our family is rich, you came back? Have you no shame at all?" Chloe tore at her hair, screaming, "No, it was Summer. You framed me. You and that man are working together to ruin me." She lunged at me like a wild animal, but was kicked to the ground by a bodyguard. My dad looked at her with ice in his eyes. "Since you hate this family so much, then get out. Go with your adoptive parents and never come back." The bald man tried to ask for money, but the police were already on their way. I had called them. A human trafficker like him wasn't going to get away, and since buying a child is also a crime, the Millers wouldn't escape either. Chloe kneeled on the floor begging our parents for forgiveness, but they were already completely disappointed. They had lived with guilt and regret for 10 years, only to find out it was all a lie. The old man held on to Chloe as she nearly fainted. "See, I'm the only one who wants you now. When you were a rich girl, I would have married you. Now that you're nothing, you can come back with me, just like before." Chloe kicked and screamed at him. My dad, furious, had the bodyguards throw them both out. My parents were devastated for a few days. Chloe didn't give up, coming back to cause a scene several times. I finally just bought plane tickets and took my parents on a trip overseas to get their minds off things. My mom cried every day. Why? She was so young. How could she be so heartless to leave her own family? We weren't rich, but we always tried to give you both the best we could. How could she be like that? I hugged her and said softly, "Some people are just born without a heart. She never loved her family. She only ever loved money." We traveled for over half a year before coming home. The bald man and his partners were arrested. The Millers were also in jail. We heard nothing about Chloe. 2 years later, I was on a business trip in City B when a wild-looking woman rushed at me. Her eyes were red-blooded and she looked like a cornered animal. "Summer, you should have stopped me. Why didn't you stop me from getting in that van this time? You ruined my life. If you had just stopped me, none of this would have happened." I was stunned for a moment. Then I realized Chloe remembered our past life. A smile touched my lips, but it didn't reach my eyes. "Stop you? So you could kill me again?" Her eyes widened in horror. "You were born?" "Summer, you were reborn too, weren't you? You witch! You witch!" She charged at me with a knife. I kicked her against a wall, then called the police and had her sent to a mental hospital. The orderlies there weren't known for being gentle. I hope you enjoy the rest of your life, Chloe. The end.